Good morning. So I wanted to go live and I wanted to talk about business tips, organizing your business expenses, and tax write-offs when you do a business like this. Yesterday I did a short video on this, but I wanted to get this more organized and more purposeful, especially for people who are brand new and starting, how to keep organized from the beginning so you don't have to work backwards. And then also for those of you who've been doing a business for a while, let's make sure you're not leaving any money on the table or missing any write-offs. So depending on what kind of home-based business you do, you might be bringing money in. So let's start with deposits. That's probably the most straightforward. If you are doing a business where customers are paying you and they're giving you a check, the best way that I can organize this for you is get a separate bank account. That is the first tip. Have a separate bank account that is your doing business as bank account. Your bank will help you. It's free, or it should be, depending on which bank you go to, I guess. They will issue you a debit card that is associated only with that business account, and you can make deposits into there and withdrawals from the money that is paid in. So for example, a customer gives you an order, and you place the order, and the customer wants to pay with a check. You have to go deposit that check into your bank account, and then you need to debit that amount out and send it off to your company. Okay, that is so important when it comes to making deposits, so that from the beginning you're not intermingling funds with your personal debit card and your business. Okay, so make sure that if you're doing deposits, that you have a separate bank account you've set up. You receive the check from the customer, you track however you track it, and then put the check into that bank account. That might mean that people have to wait a minute to get their order placed if your bank is going to hold the deposit. Okay, then process the payment through. Whatever the difference is, like say they paid you $100 and the order only cost $80 because of your discount level, then that extra money stays in your bank account. Now that's one way to receive money. If you are having customers pay via check, you've got to do it that way. I've done it a mess of ways the wrong way, where you've messed up money and put in customer checks into your personal account, and then you're paying it. It's a mess. So business account, make deposits into that business account, get the debit card. I don't recommend a business credit card. I've gotten into trouble too many times with business credit cards, and there's not a lot of expenses, at least in our business, that you would need something like that. So I've stayed very limited to whatever money is left after a customer purchases. That's what I can buy extra stuff from for my business. So that's my first tip. When I make a deposit with a check, I also, when I drive up to the drive-thru, I take a picture of that check on my cell phone. Then you can just, hey, I don't know who's on, but welcome. I just keep a copy of that. So you can print that check copy, or you can put it into a album on your phone or Dropbox if you need a physical copy of the check, just in case the customer ever says, hey, what number or whatever. I also just write it down on a piece of paper, and I guess I didn't bring in that notebook, but I just literally get a piece of paper and I write down deposits. I showed this yesterday with the date and the check number, and I keep track of it in multiple places. Obviously, you can probably always go ask your bank for that as well. So that's deposits, okay? Take a picture, write it down, put it into a business account. What about expenses? When it comes to business expenses, the best advice I have for you, once again, is have a business debit card. So only use this debit card when it comes to expenses. So let's say you do a business like me and you're doing some sampling of some products and you're going to mail out some fizz stick samples. When I buy those fizz sticks, I buy them with my business debit card, because those are the ones that are write-offs. Those are ones that I'm giving out for sampling. I'm choosing to buy them. I don't have to. It's a business. Do what you want with it. You don't have to give out samples. You don't have to give away products or whatever, or prizes. But if you do, you need to be buying that stuff. If you buy tape at Dollar General for your business, use your business debit card. It gets so confusing when you're going to the grocery store and you're buying a little bit of stuff for your business. Maybe you needed a new pair of scissors. And you're also buying groceries, and then you get home and you're like, well, which part of it was business? So I literally make 2 transactions if I have some personal stuff and some business stuff when I'm checking out at Walmart. So pretend that this is my cup that I use for my parties, which it is. So I can consider this my business party write-off cup. When I buy this, I buy it with my business card, okay? And then the rest of my stuff I can pay with my, so those 2 transactions, you guys, this is so important for businesses like these, because people mix their money up all the time, and they're mixing up their personal and their business, and they're going, I don't know what's what. I feel like I've spent $1,000 on my business this month, but you didn't. You used your business card for stuff that was personal, or your personal card for stuff that was business. Okay, so the other thing that I would suggest to you along those lines when it comes to expenses, before I talk about business write-offs, is there will be times that you pay cash for something. There will be times that you didn't have your business card with you. So there are many times I get to the store and I don't have my business card. You can still pay for your business expenses out of another account and still write it off, because you're just a person. You're not a corporation. When I used to own a big corporation, I had to have my separate business bank account, or else I couldn't even consider it a write-off. In this business, I don't have to have that. I can pay cash and keep my receipts. I can pay a check. But the biggest advice I have for you is, if you do that, let's say you go to the grocery store, you forgot your business card, you needed to pick up a set of markers for your business. When you get home, get that receipt out and literally write on the receipt. So take your receipt. So here's an Aldi receipt. This was my home shopping receipt, but I put 2 business things on here because either I forgot to separate it or whatever. When you get home or in the parking lot, circle the stuff that's business, and I literally will circle it. I'll add it up, $10, and I will put pay Kathy, okay? Hey, Laura, this is business tips. So if you have a receipt where you mixed up personal and business, I will make my business account pay me back personally. That keeps things so clean. Okay, you don't have to do this in order for it to be a write-off. You still can turn in this receipt at the end of the year. But when you look into that business account and you're like, oh, I have $500. Well, maybe you spent 10 of it out of your personal account and you need to pay yourself back from your business. Now, my business accounts are at the same bank as my personal. So I literally can just log online. I can do a transfer of whatever I spent personally. How are you, Laura? I can do an expense of whatever I spent personally, and transfer it from my business account and pay me back. It will keep your business so clean, okay? This is just suggestions. So Laura, I don't know if you've ever thought about anything when it comes to business expenses, or if you've done anything like this, but we're talking about how to keep your deposits and your expenses organized, and how to make this be a true business, not just a hobby. So let's review. Deposits, take a picture if people write you a check. So if you have an order and you place the order and somebody writes you a check, deposit the check, take a picture, record the check, use the debit card that matches that bank account that you deposited that check in, and make sure it's a business bank account so that you're nice and clean on that. And that's your deposit. So then whatever's left is income, right? That makes sense, doesn't it? Do you have any questions on that? You have, and you weren't very organized. It's so easy to not be organized in these businesses, especially because in the beginning we're excited and we're telling everybody, and you've got orders coming in and you're trying to organize the sharing part of your business, but then you forget there's a financial part to it, and it just becomes a disaster. So with expenses, the one thing that I can say is, if you can use your debit card as much as you can that is in your business name, that makes the most sense. So really, at the end of the day, whatever's left in your bank account is your profit. It's so clean at the end of the year. If you didn't use your business card, pay yourself back out of your business card, okay? We can talk at the end about when you're starting and you have no money in your business account. Let's save that for the end, because that happened to me. I mean, that was how I started back this year in January. I didn't have any money in there. Couple other ideas. Business expenses. What are things that we're paying out of our debit card? Anything that could be a business write-off. So your ink pens, your markers, your cell phone case, your charging cords, your notebook paper. Obviously, when you buy products that are demonstration products, these are business write-offs. What are not business write-offs? When you go to shop on your company's website and you buy a product that you're personally consuming, that you're not demonstrating, that you're not meeting somebody for lunch and letting them try it, you literally are just consuming it the same way you would whether you did this business or not. I personally do not like that to come out of my business account, and there's 2 reasons. Let me take a drink and I'll tell you why. One, it's very easy to look at your business account and go, man, my business cost me $300 this month because you bought a healthy living kit and you consumed all the protein shakes and the probiotics and the fiber and the greens and the fizz and the tea. When you take that money out of your business money, that's not technically business money, right? You were already going to be drinking and eating that month. So another example is makeup. If this is makeup that is just my personal makeup, I'm not demonstrating it. I'm not doing it on a Facebook Live. I literally only have it in my bathroom counter. It never ever gets, it's not marketing. It's not anything. I don't use this. I do not pay for this out of my business money. I pay for this out of my personal money because mentally, I can't look at my business account and go, wow, I spent $1,000 unless I truly spent $1,000 to run my business. So don't get your personal consumption financially mixed up and then tell yourself that you've spent $1,000 on your business when the truth is you've spent $500 or $600 because you and your husband are doing healthy living on groceries that you were going to spend elsewhere anyway. So personally, not from a tax write-off standpoint, but from a mentally organizing myself and my family budget, when I go grocery shopping, it's going to come out of my debit card for my personal bank account. So when I go grocery shopping with my own company for my personal groceries, it still comes out of my personal debit card. Does it have to? No, because you can easily argue with your accountant that this is a demonstration of the product, that you're a walking billboard. But the truth is, you were consuming that personally, and the majority of that sale was protein shakes that you drank and probiotics that you took, and maybe you demonstrated like 10% of that. So if that's the case, I might reimburse myself from my business card, go back and, transfer over. But the majority of that money, I'm just suggesting this because people all the time say, my business is costing me so much money. But you're saying the skincare that you were using, that you bought from yourself, was an expense that you didn't already incur. You were already buying those products. You were just buying them from someone else. So don't look at that as necessarily a business cost is what I'm saying. It could be a business write-off, but it's not a cost of you doing business. You want to be a product of your product. So the benefit is I do still track that stuff. I do still keep receipts of everything that I personally bought from my company. And I turn that into my CPA and I tell him, here's the stuff that I used for demonstration and office supplies and Facebook parties. Here's the stuff that I bought personally and I used in home, but I also demonstrate some of the time. Can I write any of that off? If you have questions on that, ask me, but it's a huge topic that I really want to hit home with people when you're starting your business so that you don't get into this wrong mindset and you look through your bank account and see your company's name 52 times and think, oh my gosh, it's cost me so much to do that. Well, what about the money you didn't spend at the other? What about the makeup counters you used to go to and the grocery items you used to buy and the health food store item? That's not in your bank account debits anymore, right? You've replaced it. So if that does not make sense, ask me. All right, let's talk about what you can write off. And this is how I organize my expenses. Very, very, very simple. When you have receipts for anything for your business, like I said, I really, really recommend that you pay for it as much as you can out of your bank account from your business, but you still have to have the paper receipt. So I literally just throw my paper receipts into a folder. This one is from Market Basket. This was some flowers and stuff we got for the house. I have 2 businesses, so one of them I can write off part of my outside stuff. This was postage. Obviously, that's very straightforward. That was postage. This was swimming pool chemicals, which I can write off for my kids' camp. More swimming pool chemicals. So even though these things may have come directly out of my debit card, keep those paper receipts, and you can just keep them in a simple folder, or you can take photos and then put them into Dropbox or like an album on your phone if you wanted. So when I had my big corporation, we had so many receipts that we would Dropbox, which is like an online storage, Dropbox all the receipts. With Arbonne and with Camp Callahan, I literally just keep a folder. So at the end of the year, this was 2017, I think, I just have a folder of receipts, okay? It's not a bad idea to write on the receipts what it was for and the amount, because sometimes this will fade. And if you ever get audited, you might want to have written on the receipts anything that you're afraid is going to fade. But I also have those debits coming out of my bank account. So what kind of receipts am I tracking in here? I had a list for you guys. Where's my list? Oh, demo products. So in a business like mine, anything you're demonstrating, obviously you keep all your receipts for that. Any postage that you're doing, any sampling that you're doing, any packaging. So last week I mailed out some little gifts to people. Laura was one of them. When I mail out that packaging, so the stuff that I actually put her products in, hey Tracy, those are all business expenses that you can keep track of. Those are receipts that you can keep track of. Another big one, any of your supplies. So my makeup brushes, anything that's for my parties. These are all receipts that I keep, okay? Another huge one is mileage. You're welcome, Laura. Mileage is a huge one. And if you're doing a home-based business, get smart about your mileage, because it's very straightforward when you drive from your home to a person's home to drop off a product or to do a party, and then you drive back home. Clearly that's business mileage, okay? So how would we write it down? I used to write it down on a mileage book that you buy from Office Max, and it literally was like a mileage book. It would ask where you went, how many miles, what the date was. Now I just do it in my phone, and the reason is because I always have my phone. So let's see so here's my 2019 mileage. Granted, it's backwards, okay? But I literally just pull up a note in my phone that says 2019 mileage. And here's what it says. Monday, January 7th, Arbonne meeting, Granite City, Kim's house, 72 miles. Friday, February 1st, YMCA Open Gym, Edwardsville, 20 miles. So some of this is my Arbonne mileage, some of it's my Camp Callahan mileage. Tuesday, February 5th, Highland, Illinois meeting about Arbonne with Christine, over 60 miles. So I literally just open it up and I talk to Siri, and at the end of the year, I will add all those miles up and turn in one number to my CPA. So let's talk about getting smart about how that mileage could work for your benefit. I talked about this yesterday, but I need markers from Office Max, okay? But my kids are going to school, which by the way, okay, at the high school, and I have to pick them up. So be smart. I'm already going to drive to town. I have to pick my kids up. But I also need ink pens at the office store. So make a plan to go to the office store for your pens, track your mileage. That is a business trip. You are taking a trip to the office store to buy an office supply. You can write off that mileage, okay? Then while you're in town, you can pick up your son. You're already in town. It's not an extra trip. Like multi-use those trips is what I'm saying. Another example, ask me if you have questions on that. Another example is you're going out of town, and I do this one a lot. My family lives in Washington, and now I do have a consultant in Washington that's a family member. Thank you, Heidi. But she's doing it just for the products. What I would say to her is, hey, Heidi, family camp's coming up in July. I'm going to be in town. I know you love the products. Will you host a party for me while I'm in town? Get a couple people together. We'll do some of the healthy living that you already love. I'll bring some of the makeup you haven't tried yet. Make a plan before you go, and then, and only then, can that be a business write-off. You can't just impromptu end up in Washington and be like, oh, we talked about the products, so I'm writing off my trip. No, it has to be pre-planned. Another thing I've done for my Washington trip before Heidi being in my business is I would search the area for conferences. So Washington's a big trip to take. It's expensive to fly. We do camp, so the lodging's cheaper. But I looked in the area if there was a company conference or anything applicable to my business, maybe something with network marketing or self-development, and I would pre-plan that trip, that business expense, before I got out there. Okay, you can't just show up. So I do that a lot all the time if I'm traveling. Make sure I can find something somewhere in that area to do business, and you have to have documentation that you planned this prior to going, so that you're not, whatever. Okay, any questions on that? And then I got one more part to share with you guys. When it comes time to so we talked about mileage, tracking your demo products, your supplies, other business write-offs, your cell phone is very straightforward, I would think, but however much your cell phone bill is, it's 100% write-off for your cell phone, not your family. And your internet is 100% write-off. So you'll track those things. If you're on a family plan, I have to look at what part is my phone bill. So now that you kind of have like a way to organize your business, and you're putting your deposits into your bank account, you're using your business debit card for true business expenses, you are taking pictures of receipts and checks, you're writing everything down. When it comes time to tax time, I literally turn in a paper that's this fancy. Business 2017 taxes, okay? So I like pen and paper for this business. When I owned my large corporation, I did everything in QuickBooks. I don't find that it's necessary for me yet in my business right now. So literally what I do is I write down my expenses for my business and I total them up. So on my piece of paper, and I wish I would have brought my notebook. I showed it yesterday, but my notebook where I literally just write down the date and the expenses. At the end of the year, I add it all up and I write down my expenses, okay? Now, if it's in large categories and you're not sure if it can go together, keep it separate. Like if you're not sure if your office supplies and your sampling products should be considered different, just leave them on two different lines. I already know that my CPA puts it all together. So I just write down expenses and I give them that one number. Mileage, add up all the miles. So if you do it like I did it with the notes on your phone, then I have to sit there and add up all the miles, and it's the last number on each line item, and I add up all the miles. So in 2017, it was 385 miles. Not that many because I wasn't really doing this business that much at all. So you give him those numbers. So expenses, mileage, that's what I do for there. Then income. So your income, you're going to have to track in a couple ways. So if you do a business like mine, your company is going to send you a 1099. Very easy. Just give the CPA the 1099. But remember, you also might have deposited money into your business account. So you have to also track that. So, hey, Jenny, if your customer places an order and they write you a check, and you go deposit that check into your business account and then you debit out an amount, if there's a difference there, that's to your advantage, that's a deposit or an income you need to record, okay? So on my book that I keep everything written down on, if Christy wrote me a $200 check, but when I went to place her order, it only cost $160, I record that $40 income. And then at the end of the year, you add up all the income for, this is for my Camp Callahan business. Anything that also wasn't on your 1099, you need to report that to your accountant, okay? Other things that I record, for an example, with my Camp Callahan business, I had bank fees of $15 because I'm limited to so much. I have to, have a special amount, my $200 or something. If you have less than that, they charge you a bank fee. I had labor costs. I had supplies. We bought a freezer. We bought a PlayStation. I had to pay liability insurance. I had a fee for preparing my taxes. So those are business expenses I can write off in my Camp Callahan business. My Arbonne business, we talked about things like demo products and supplies. The other thing that you can record is your home office. Now, the rule about home office is it has to be a dedicated office space. And I'm not your accountant. Go check with him. I'm just telling you, I've done this for a lot of years, for lots of businesses, for my Arbonne business, for my camp, for my Morning Glory business. I've always had a side hustle or a big business that I have to track everything on. When it comes to home office, if you're ever audited and they look in here and see this is really a kid's playroom, this cannot be considered my home office. Your home office has to be a dedicated space that is only used for business. Okay, so there can't be a bowl of dog food in there. It won't count. If you do have a dedicated home office space, the square footage of that space is a write-off. So pretend like my home office that's over there is probably about 200 square feet. And our whole home is maybe 2,400 square feet. So what's that? 1/12 of my home is home office, okay? Now for my Camp Callahan business, I get a bigger write-off because the kids get to occupy the whole house. It's like a daycare more. But for Arbonne, it's a home office. So what you need to track for home office expense is the bills of your home. Your mortgage, your trash, your water, your electricity. What else? What else is a home office expense? I turned in Ameren, my yard expenses, my internet, my water, and my trash. That's all I turned in that year. And then I give the CPA the full number for the whole year, and then he pulls out a percent based on whatever my home office is, okay? So the best advice I'll give you with home office is pay everything through your bank bill pay. So if you have a bank account that offers you bill pay, set up each of your payees as their own account, because then at the end of the year, you can run a 2019 report through your bank and have all your Ameren bills together. Let's see if I have that. All your expenses together. You don't have to go searching for all your Ameren bills and all your water bills and all that. It literally will add it up. I don't have copies of that right now. My bank literally just prints that out for me. I mean, online I do it. If you do it through bill, like if you go onto AT&T's website and pay your cell phone bill, it's not as easy to track. That means you've got to log into all your different accounts. But if you do everything through your bank's bill pay, it's all right there. If you write a check for everything, keep copies of the checks. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to talk about from that standpoint. I will address one more thing, but I'll review first, okay? So home office has tons of benefits. Make sure that you really are running a business before you just start writing all this stuff off and be like, oh, I use the products and I'm going to write them all off now. My CPA told me in 3 to 5 years, if you're not showing a profit, you're going to be considered a hobby and you're going to have like red flags on you for being audited. So you want to write off as much as you can because that's the benefit to being a home-based business. But you've got to be organized and you actually have to be running it as a business, okay? So one of the biggest things is get that business. If you do not have a business account set up right now, go do it. And put your money that is for that business into that bank account only. Pay out of that business for any expenses that are truly business. If you accidentally pay it out of your personal card or you forgot or you paid cash, go home and pay yourself back. Write yourself a check, transfer money from your business account back into your personal, make a note on it. Get that money out of your business to pay yourself back personally if that's what happened, so that you can organize your business as truly business. Keep track of everything throughout the year. If you do customer orders, track them somehow. I had receipts, I'm out. Now I track it on Post-it notes, doesn't matter. I just need a record of all my customer orders somewhere. So I can see why there was something running on my debit card, or if they ran it on their debit card, it didn't even go through my bank account. That's even better. Keep all your receipts, take pictures of them. You're only going to need those if you're audited. As long as you paid the expenses out through your debit card, you'll see it all come out there. Pay everything through your bill pay so that you can track your home office expenses. Internet and cell phone are 100% write-offs, so make sure you keep track of those. Remember, if you're using products personally, that I recommend to buy those out of your personal budget that you would use anyway for food or makeup or whatever. I look oily. That is just my suggestion. And the last thing is, what happens when you're brand new in business and you don't have any money? So here's my opinion on it. I relaunched my business in January. I relaunched my business. I was already signed up, but I didn't have any products that I was like demoing out. I just had only my products that I was personally using. but that's okay. I had bought the 30 Days to Healthy Living. I was consuming that product. I actually decided to do those products before I relaunched my business. So that money wasn't, in my opinion, money that needed to come out of my business. That was money that needed to come out of my personal account because I'm buying into this healthy living system for me, that I'm going to be buying other groceries from Aldi or Walmart if I don't buy them from my company. So I didn't need business money. I needed personal grocery budget shopping money, which I already had. That was already in my budget. I just decided not to use it at Schnucks. I used it with Arbonne. So that wasn't a factor. So then very quickly you have products in your hand that you're personally using. You're consuming the products, you're sharing the products. I built most of my business through social media this time, so I didn't have to hand you the product. I started sharing healthy living calls and people started ordering. So very quickly I have money coming in. And actually I let the money go onto this card starting in January. I got an Arbonne debit card. So when I was getting commissions paid every single week, right away you start sharing the products and you got money coming in. That's all I could spend in my business. This is how I limited myself, and I have never had debt since 2-3 years ago, because I don't have a credit card. I don't have the option to spend what I don't have because I did it the wrong way before. I would get a credit card and be like, oh, I need to buy this and this. So when Arbonne gives me money, this is my limit for what I can put back into my business. That's how I do it this time, okay? So my first sale was $317, and I think I made $47.55 on it or something like that. The next week I had the money. I now have $50. If I want to put that back into my business, that's how much I can spend that week on business. So then I start thinking, what do I really want? Do I want some, I don't know. I don't even know what to get. Do I want to go buy a box of fizz sticks so I can start sampling out some fizz sticks? Do I want to mail, I don't know, a card to someone? So now I need to go buy a card and I don't know. Whatever it is, I had $50 to spend in my business, or I had $50 profit I can keep. That is the best way. You guys do not tell yourselves that you have to have $1,000 to start your business, because you do need to buy the products, but I'm telling you that you're going to be using them. So I look at it more as a consumer part in the beginning when I'm buying the products. Then I'll keep my receipt and tell my CPA, hey, this is the skincare line I bought when I started my business. I was using it. Can I still write it off? But I didn't take that money out of my business account. I didn't have money in a business account to start with, right? I took it out of my personal account because if I didn't buy it from the company I sell for now, I was going to go buy it from the makeup counter. So I hope that makes sense in just mentally organizing yourself. If you don't have money to get the products, get some samples. If you don't have money to get some samples, go sell some stuff in your house that your kids aren't playing with. Because I know you guys have as much as I do that nobody's playing with, or shirts that you're not wearing or something. Then, the $49, I will have people say, well, I can't even afford the $49 to sign up. And that is a true business expense. You're going to have to find it somewhere. Do not put it on a credit card. It's $49. Save the $49. Sell stuff in your house that's the $49. Ask for it for your birthday gift, whatever. And then that is a true business expense. So when you don't have money in your business in the beginning and you take it out of your personal card, as soon as you have a deposit from Arbonne or from a customer, I write myself a check or I transfer that money back to my personal card and pay myself back. So that now it was a business expense. Maybe I loaned myself the money, but get that money back over to your personal account. That is just my suggestions. I'm not right. I'm not wrong. I just do what I do. But I've done a lot of running a lot of accounting and business expenses, and I've done it so many different ways. I hope this helps. If you have questions, drop them below or message me. If you don't agree with something or if you do it a different way, let me know, because this is just how I have found it most simple to do, but also in a way that my family doesn't look and go, man, why is all our money going to that company? Because they're not looking and going, why is our money going to Walmart when we buy groceries? So just be careful to keep your personal and your business separate. from a legality standpoint, when you do a business like ours, there's not really an issue with paying from different accounts. If you're a corporation, there is a legality there. I'm just suggesting it from a mental standpoint. So, okay, I'm done rambling. Hope it's helpful. I will talk with y'all later, but please message me questions, or if you want a list of what to track. I just Googled like home office expenses. It's all out there. All right, bye guys.